Hello everyone, good day. My name is Christel Solas Blanca, your reporter for this session. Are you ready? Without further ado, let's proceed to my report. Well, if you are ready, I want you to inhale, exhale, relax, and listen. My report is all about the more recent developments in organizational behavior. So when we talk of recent, we are talking about the current developments in organizational behavior. So let's put in mind that my report will cover the current development in organizational behavior. During the past several decades, management and organization theorists have made important contributions to our understanding of organizational behavior. Primarily, those who are studying business organization. A lot of studies has arisen. One of those, the limitation of traditional command and control that was explored by Peter Drucker in 1967. To give you a short glimpse, the traditional command and control refers to a style of leadership that use standard procedure to regulate the organization. This is authoritative in nature because privilege is given to the senior management. So when we say the traditional command and control, privilege is given to the senior management. Models of organization and stimulating worker productivity, especially in areas in which knowledge workers are especially important. So when we say knowledge worker, we are talking about the senior employees. Margaret Whitley in 2006 extended this notion, encouraging managers and workers in times of uncertainty and chaos to embrace resilience, adaptation, and creativity. While Peter Singh in 1990 led the exploration of learning organizations. So Margaret Whitley encouraged the managers to stay resilient in times of uncertainty. So when we say resilient, we are talking about the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties. So he used to encourage the managers to remain resilient and creative and at the same time adaptive in times of chaos. So when we say chaos, we are talking about the different difficulties in a particular company. On the other hand, Edgar Schein in 1985 established the importance of organizational culture. And Robert Waterman in 1982 established the role of executives in all sectors striving for excellence in a strategic fashion, a theme recently echoed by Jim Collins in 2001-2011 in his book Good to Great and Great by Choice. Because of its emphasis on individual behavior, contemporary organizational behavior draws heavily on psychology. So when we talk of the recent development in organizational behavior, its emphasis is on individual behavior. So the emphasis is on individual behavior. That's why organizational behavior in the recent development draws heavily on psychology. To give you a short glimpse, when we say psychology, it is a scientific study of the human mind and its function, especially those affecting behavior in a given context. So when we say psychology, it has something to do with the human mind. Psychological theories and models from the basis of our knowledge about perception and learning, human motivation, and a small group or one-on-one interactions. So the current development in organizational behavior lies heavily from the basis of our knowledge about perception and learning, human motivation, and a small group of one-on-one interaction. So meaning to say, behavior during these times has something to do with our emotions and with the different things happening around us. Not all the schools of thought within psychology play an equal role in the study of organizational behavior. A recent and compelling emphasis in the social psychology of organizational behavior is termed positive organizational scholarship, or positive organizational behavior, the practical outcome. So the emphasis is termed on positive organizational scholarship. So what do you mean by that? So when we say positive organizational scholarship, okay, so when we say positive organizational scholarship, that is the study itself. And then when we say positive organizational behavior, that is the practical outcome. So let us unlock this positive organizational behavior and positive organizational scholarship. So in order for us to understand what is this concept, let us study the positive psychology, which was explored by Seligman in 2002. Instead of focusing on what was wrong with people, that is the deficiencies, positive psychology would focus on positive experiences, that is happiness, pleasure, and joy, and how human beings could use their talent to promote positive institutions that would in turn create greater positive circumstances for individuals and groups. So it is being defined here that when we say positive psychology from the word itself positive, we are focusing on the positive experiences itself. For example, happiness, pleasure, and joy, and how human beings could use their talent to promote positive institution. So the sense of being optimistic is shown here. For example, in a particular company or business, whenever there is a chaos happening in that particular business, instead of focusing of those difficulties, they used to focus their thought in the positive things, such as they learn out of those difficulties, they develop teamwork among their team, and most of all, they develop resilience. So that is positive psychology. They are focusing more on the positive side of things. The new approach was to emphasize the best in the human condition and model ways in which excellence and high performance could be sustained. So the emphasis is in the human condition, and it model ways in which excellence and high performance could be sustained. In 2002, Fred Lutan's, working with the Gallup organization and noting its emphasis on strength rather than weakness in the larger population, proposed that confidence, hope, and resiliency should be incorporated into learning about organizational behavior. So since positive psychology during these days has been integrated, Fred Lutan's worked with the Gallup organization, and he used to emphasize the strength rather than the weaknesses in a larger population. He proposed that confidence, hope, and resiliency should be incorporated into learning about organizational behavior. Similarly, Tim Cameron, Blaine Dutton, and Robert Quinn in 2003 further elaborated the notion of positive scholarship, suggesting a greater emphasis on human strength, resilience, and vitality, and the creation of settings characterized by appreciation, collaboration, fulfillment, abundance, and human well-being. So as you can notice, positive scholarship is very much appreciated during these days because its emphasis is more on the positive side of the things. Cameron and colleagues in 2003 wrote, "Imagine a world in which organizations are typified by greed, selfishness, manipulation, secrecy, and single-minded focus on winning. Wealth creation is the key indicator of success" on page 3. So on the other side, some psychologists used to focus on the other side of the coin. That's why since positive scholarship is more on the positive sides of things, Cameron and colleagues used to write a book which is contradicting with the previous one. So they focus on the negative sides. That's why they promote the book, "Imagine a world in which all organizations are typified by greed, selfishness, manipulation, secrecy, and single-minded focus on winning." Stress and anxiety would characterize individuals in those organizations, and social relations would be strained. So as you can notice, if we are going to focus on the negative sides of things, of course, distress and anxiety would be characterized in that particular situation. In contrast, imagine another world in which all organizations are typified by appreciation, collaboration, virtuousness, vitality, and meaningfulness. Creating abundance and human well-being are key indicators of success on page 3. So another book was written which is contradicting with the previous one, which is something to do with focusing on the negative sides. So the second book is all about on the positive side itself. Such features as trustworthiness, humility, and positive energy would characterize individuals on those organizations, and researchers would emphasize excellence and extraordinary performance. So if we are going to promote appreciation, collaboration, virtuousness, so when we say virtuousness, meaning to say we are doing what is right. And then vitality, when we are talking about vitality, it is the sense of being strong and having an active energy. So if we are going to focus on these positive things, of course, without further hesitation, it would feature trustworthiness, humility, and positive energy. So do you agree with that? Of course, that is very much true. Positive organizational behavior does not dismiss the first view, which has a clear basis in reality, but emphasizes the second. It seeks, as the old Johnny Mercer song, to accentuate the positive. So this is an idiomatic expression. So when you say accentuate the positive, it means that you are going to focus on what is positive. So you are going to eliminate the negative ones. That is what do you mean by the word accentuate the positive. This approach is closely related to what we might call a strength-based approach to organizational strength to development. Approach builds on strength. So this approach is built on strength in such a way that they are focusing about the positive side of things. A parallel strength-based approach is often used in community development. The focus is not on what's wrong with the community, but what is right and what can be built upon. So as you can notice, this approach is very much meaningful in nature because they are focusing on what is good for the environment, what is right, and what can be built upon. So it's a very good thing to develop these things. We should not focus on what was wrong, but we should focus on what is right and what can be built upon. So it has something to do with also with people. For example, a person has so many bad attitude. So in order for us to help him, we should not keep telling him about what was wrong with him. But sometimes we need to appreciate some good things that they have in order for him or her to nurture those things so that he can build a better personality. Because sometimes the more we look on people's mistake, the more we put them to become like that. But sometimes they just need a sort of appreciation, encouragement. Sometimes those are what people needs, not a criticizing society. In neuroscience or brain science, it suggests that the physiology of the human brain is directly connected to human behavior, including organizational behavior. For example, stress affects everyone, but the structure of brain means that certain people are less affected by stress than others. So, brain science or neuroscience has also been introduced during these times, and it suggests that the physiology of the human brain is directly connected to human behavior. So according to this study, the structure of our brain has something to do with the organizational behavior that we have. So for example, stress affects everyone, but the structure of the brain means that certain people are less affected by stress than others. In science may eventually be able to tell us from a physical standpoint which individuals are likely to be most resilient and why. Brain research has also shown that our brains are highly flexible and adaptable, which means that learning can take place not just in our early years but throughout lives. So according to the brain's research, our brains now are highly flexible and adaptable. As they study the structure of our brain, it is being shown there that our brain are highly flexible, which means that learning can take place not just in our early year but throughout our life. So as we keep getting old, our learning or our brain is becoming more flexible. We learn so many things as we grow old and as we discover so many experiences around us. A similar argument is developed in a popular and readable book the New York Times columnist David Brooks called The Social Animal. So have you heard that word, social animal? Brooks contend that our conscious and rational mind often receives credit for thinking through options and guiding our actions, when in fact the unconscious mind, or the world of emotions, intuitions, and deep-seated longings, tends to play a much more significant role. So according to Brooks, our emotions, intuitions, and deep-seated longings has a great role in the way how we behave. Concludes that we are not rational animals, but first and foremost, we are social animals. By the way, let us have a short sort of brainstorming. What does it mean when people are being called as rational animals? So how is rational animals being differs from social animals? So when we say rational animals, we are doing things based on logic or based on reason. But when we say social animals, society has something to do with that. So the way we behave is because of the society that we have. That's why we are also called as social animals. So the different things that we have in our society, or the different things we encounter in our society, affects our behavior a lot. So do you agree with that? So that is what Brooke contends. So he concludes that we are not rational animals, but first and foremost, we are social animals. According to Daniel Goleman, it comes to the same on his conclusion. He identifies a human predisposition to be aware of and sensitive to other human beings. So what do you mean by predisposition? So when you say predisposition, it is to behave in a particular way. So you tend to behave like that because of the kind of person that you are or the attitudes that you have. So according to Daniel Goleman, he identifies a human predisposition to be aware of and sensitive to other human beings. So other people around us has a great impact on our behavior. Do you agree with that? One emerging theme in brain studies is that human behavior is never purely rational. The emotions play a central role in all aspects of organizational behavior. The study of organizational behavior draws from many disciplines. So one emerging theme in brain studies is that human behavior is never purely rational. The emotions play a central role in all aspects of organizational behavior. So the emerging theme is that human behavior is never purely rational. So it is not usually based on logic or based on reason. But of course, our emotion has something to do with our behavior. So that's why during these days, people tends to be called as social animals. The study of organizational behavior draws from many disciplines. The influence of these fields is not singular. Each of them may provide insights into particular topic within the field of organizational behavior. So the influence of organizational field is not singular. So meaning to say, it is not only one. It has so many influences. In fact, the more different angles and lenses we can use to look at the human behavior in organizations, the more likely our actions will be effective. So the more that we use as many devices, the more we will become effective. So just like teachers, the more we have so many instructional materials to use, the more our instruction will be effective. So let's try to foster this question. Does good management make a difference? So this question is a very good question to reflect on. Have you ever asked yourself, or whenever you became a leader in a class, or even into your group as teachers, have you ever asked yourself, does good management make a difference? So what do you think? Is our way of management has something to do with the outcome itself? So let us find out. The Gallup organization, better known for its broad social and political public opinion surveys, has been measuring management practices and their effect on productivity. The research shows that employees who are engaged in their work essentially double their odds of success when compared to those who are less engaged. So, according to my dear classmates, according to research, it is being shown there that employees who are engaged in their work essentially. So, whenever the employee is engaged in a particular work and they have their attachment, they essentially double their odds of success. So just like in teaching, if we are engaged or if we have the attachment with our student, the success of learning is there compared to those who are less engaged. Of course, if you have a strong attachment or if you do love your work, the more you will become motivated to work. But if you do not like what you are doing, of course, you will never find any reason to do better and to improve better. The survey investigated how employees become engaged and found that managers using positive leadership behaviors such as a strength-based approach, maintaining a positive perspective when difficulties arise, and providing frequent recognition and encouragement were a key factor in employee engagement. The survey investigated how employees become engaged and found that managers using positive leadership behavior, such as a strength-based approach, maintaining a positive perspective when difficulties arise, and providing frequent recognition and encouragement were a key factor in employee engagement. So, do you agree with this survey? Really shows that whenever we are, so for example, in a particular management, whenever the manager itself is optimistic and he used to focus on the positive side of his employees, he used to discover so many things. He used to discover the strength, the skills of an employee, which he can use to manage effectively. As you can notice, if there is the recognition, sense of encouragement, the flow of the management is smooth. The employee will work better. Did you observe that? Good management and good leadership clearly make a difference. Do you agree with that? Good management and good leadership clearly make a difference. So, the way how we manage things really impact a lot with the employees. It impacts the whole outcome of what we are doing. What is exactly a good boss word? So I would like you to reflect on this question. What is exactly a good boss word? So what is the word of a good boss? What is the importance or what is the essence of being a good boss? The study found that removing a poorly performing manager and replacing him or her with a top performing manager is roughly equal in terms of productivity to adding an extra person to the team. The top performing manager is like the star athlete who makes everyone around him or her look better. So if there is someone or there is a top performing manager who is guiding the team, everybody will look better. It is a matter of mentoring those who are not that good. How does poor management affect the work of the organization? It's an old adage that people don't quit their jobs they quit their bosses. So do you agree with this adage? People don't quit their jobs, they quit their bosses. So have you experienced this adage that you used to quit your job not because of the difficulties in the work itself, not because you cannot do the job, but because you do not like to interact with the boss anymore. You do not like the way how the boss manages the company. So that is really a very meaningful adage to reflect on. Good management is associated with happy, engaged, and committed employees. So it is a very good thing for us to put in mind that good management should always be associated with happy, engaged, and committed employees. Have you ever experienced all these things with the company you have working right now? Have you ever experienced or have you ever seen all these attributes to the company to where you are working now? Clearly, managers makes a difference. And if you have the skills and abilities to manage and lead effectively, you will likely have more productive and satisfied employees. So that is very much correct on my part. Do you agree? Yes, of course. Because managers really creates a difference. If you have the abilities to manage and lead effectively, you will have more productive and satisfied employees. Now let us proceed to the themes and purposes of this book. So why do you think this book is being written? What is the purpose? What is the theme? When we say theme, we are talking about central topic. What is the central topic of this book? So what is this book all about? And then when we say purpose, we are talking about the reason why. What is the reason why the book has been done? Do you want to find out? Okay, let's proceed. Let us go first to the different themes. It has actually three themes. The first one is the importance of understanding the behaviors, motivations, and the actions of individuals in the public service. The central topic revolves around understanding human behavior. The second one is a focus on the distinctiveness of management and leadership in public organization. So in this book, as we go along to the different topics, into the different chapters on this book, we will have the focus on the distinctiveness. So meaning to say the difference between management and leadership, which will be clearly defined on the next reporting, I guess. And then the third one is an emphasis on student learning, not only from reading, but also from experience. So another central topic is the emphasis on student learning, not only from reading, but also from experience. So learning by doing. We learn from our experience. Just like the old adage says, experience is the best teacher. Okay, so let us go to the purposes. First, behavior should focus on the individual we assume that the key to success in public administration is the ability to understand and influence the behavior of individuals and groups. So this book is being created because they want to focus on the individual behavior. It should focus on individual behavior and not the behavior as general. Second, this issue of publicness leads to the next major perspective of the book. We believe that the compelling nature of the political environment and the nature of public service make public management distinctive. So another purpose is this book will help political environment and the nature of public services will make public management distinctive. So it could make a difference in terms of management. And the third one is to develop the capacity for action. A different style of learning is necessary. So they want to develop the capacity of action and learning management in different style. So these are the themes and purposes of organizational management. So that ends my report. I hope that you get meaningful knowledge out of my report. So thank you, classmates, for listening, and thank you to our professor. Great things lie ahead. Stay safe and thank you.